Hey, WokeNFree Nation. Newsly is an audio app for iOS and Android. It picks up web articles about the most trending topics on the web at any given moment and reads them to you in a natural human voice.
For the first time in the history of the internet, the entire web becomes listenable. Browse articles from topics you choose and start playing. Stop scrolling, start listening.
You can follow any topic as specific as you like, from sports, science to Bitcoin, or even one of your favorite celebrities. It will find you the latest articles and read them to you aloud.
And they have podcasts as well. Explore trending podcasts from over 50 countries. Our podcast, WokeNFree, is there too.
Now let's get into the episode. Hi, it's Natasha.
And Khalil.
And we are the co-hosts of
WokeNFree.
Thank you for tuning in to our 278th episode of WokeNFree. If you've been tuning in every week for WokeNFree Wednesday, you know that WokeNFree is all about being real and honest with each other and you. We talk about everything and anything important to us, you, the world, and nothing is off the table. This week we're asking the question, does it matter who makes more money in a relationship? Very interesting. But before we dive deep into that conversation, a couple of things to cover. Have you not only gone to WokeNFree.com to listen to this episode, but have you downloaded it through the Podbean app? If you haven't, please do so immediately. If you have the app, then you can put in your comments, and then you can share with us, what is your take on this? How much money should a partner have in the relationship over their other partner? Does it matter? Does it matter to you? We want to hear all of that. So please do that. Secondly, if you listen to podcasts on a device where you can't download new apps on it, that's, something to think about, especially for our show. But then what you can do to support WokeNFree is go to WokeNFree.com, go on the Listen tab, and then pick your platform of choice where you're going to follow and subscribe to us. So we are on iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, Google Play. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Pandora. It's a WokeNFree world. So wherever podcasts are, typically that's where you're going to find us. So make sure you, again, click to follow, subscribe, all that good jazz. Now, also on WokeNFree.com, you can have the option to click to subscribe to follow the show through the Podbean app, which we'd greatly appreciate as well. Get the notifications of our show. And then on social media, you can always find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, Pinterest, and LinkedIn at WokeNFree. And then lastly, if you have 90 seconds, which is more of like a statement than a question, we would love for you to go to the Listen tab on WokeNFree.com and then pick your platform of choice where you're going to review the show at. So wherever you like to do that, we appreciate our 5-star reviews on iTunes, but you can make your decision. So next, I'm going to kick it to you, Khalil.
And I hope they make a good decision, is what I'd like to add.
Okay.
Because that's also important for WokeNFree listeners to do.
That's true.
Try to make some good decisions in life. And you know what we do before we start this conversation? Just like every other conversation, we share a little bit about ourselves. This week we're asking the important question, would you rather be an elf or a reindeer?
More pointless information.
It's very important in this time of year.
Well, I guess what I would love to hear is maybe the reasoning for why you made your decision. So for me, I would have to go with reindeer because I'm not interested in being a miniature, like a smaller version of myself. In that, how I envision now, I may be wrong because, the world is very fluid and different now, but how I envision elf, I think like elf on a shelf, and it's like a little cute little doll on a bookcase or whatever, and if that's what I should be thinking about when I think about elf, then I'm not interested in that because I don't want to be stationary, nor do I want to be kind of a doll that can be broken or lost.
A doll? So you think of a doll,
like that,
not an actual living creature?
Well, that's what I think of like when I think of elf.
Right.
But then reindeer, I think of like kind of vibrant and alive and just like beautiful and Santa's helper, right? Like, so for me, that seems more like in I guess in conjunction with who I am as a person. But how about you?
Well, I look at this in terms of the Santa Claus element.
Okay.
The elf and the reindeer, they work for Santa. So
Yep.
you got to think about which job would you rather have. Do you want to pull a sleigh one day of the year and then all you do is eat and frolic in the snow? Or do you want to be an elf who can have parties and go out with the other elves and have a good time? You know, they get to do more stuff.
In your
They might
fictional
work.
mind, yeah.
They might work all year long, but at least they get to party. The reindeers, they don't really get to party. All they can do is frolic in the snow.
Is that a factor? Is that your
That's
thought?
just a thought. When you
Okay.
think about a reindeer's life. It's not going to be as fun as an elf's life.
I don't know if we
'Cause
know
the
enough
elf-
about reindeers, though.
But I mean, elf is like you said, it's a smaller version of yourself. A reindeer is a whole different animal. It's more like it's like being a deer or something. It's not, doesn't seem exciting. I mean, you can put your antlers against the tree and make the
I
snow
feel like
fall.
we're making assumptions, though.
Really? I don't
we're
think a
just
reindeer's life can be as exciting as an elf's life.
But they're
That's
so
what I
pretty,
think about.
though.
But I mean, yeah, they're cool to look at. But if you're an elf, you can probably get yourself a reindeer if you want and ride it around. I mean, I don't know. They seem like they're a vehicle, or a work tool compared to the elf. The elf is an
I guess
actual
so.
like. I don't know. The elf is. I guess I don't want to say higher ordered, but that's what it seems like. The elf can do more
Well, I think
things.
there's assumptions being made. I also think that there's judgment here. So
And one thing
I'm
that
not
can
going to
add,
speak on
I know
either of
you don't have to
those,
speak
yeah.
to that, but either way, between the elf and the reindeer, we know the elf is making more money, right?
Again, that's an assumption. I don't know if elves are being paid or they're indentured servants.
They get paid in candy in some lore.
So that is,
And reindeer don't
that's
get paid
not
at
a
all.
currency that operates in the world that I live in.
As an elf, it would be that
the
way.
currency of candy. You would be arrested if I try to pay in my mid-balls.
No, but then you would trade that with the other elves, and you can get other
Yeah, but
things.
I need to go food shopping, and so those mint balls is that the currency?
That might be provided. I don't know how. I think that's food is free for elves. Right?
Again, a lot of assumptions here.
But
This
food is free
getting
for reindeer.
Really weird.
And reindeer can
Khalil.
eat out in the. They can eat out in the wild if they need to. Elves can't.
You really went deep on that one.
Oh, I just thought about. I mean,
Okay.
realistically,
So
you
you're
gotta
happy
choose
to
the
be an
elf.
elf then.
yeah, because the elf, like I said,
And also when I think of elf, unfortunately, I feel triggered by that, what's his name?
Will Ferrell.
Yes, and that
But you-
heinous movie we can't stand.
Oh yeah, that everybody
so
loves though.
Everyone
That's
loves
one of the
that
favorite
movie,
Christmas
but
movies.
It terrifies me.
I know I like his
And
movies too, but
I
that's,
do like. Well,
that's
I
one of
like
them.
Will Ferrell up until that was it that second Anchorman that was.
No, I don't like
hideous.
Anchorman too. That's
yeah,
bad.
that was
that's
hideous, so
another.
that's what I like.
Those are two movies that I
Stop
think he's
really being in love with him, but I love
he
that
messed
first
up.
Anchorman though, man. That thing.
Oh yeah, that was really
as hell.
funny. Yeah, that was good.
But generally, yeah, I usually like Will Ferrell. But yeah, see, when I think of Elf, I think of that movie, and then I get very triggered and upset. So I don't. That's why I'm like, no, I don't like it.
Because just think about it. The elves and Santa, they're kind of in a relationship. Like one's the boss, one's the worker. One's making more, one's making less.
That's an interesting, dirty correlation there. Okay,
Yeah, it's not dirty. But it is a relationship, and
there's a lot of.
it's not sexual in
problematic
nature
things that were
though.
said
There's no.
there, yeah.
It's not sexual
Again,
in
we're
nature.
making assumptions.
No, I know that for sure. That's one. There's no lore that
over this fictional character.
there's not popular lore that exists about that.
Okay.
And you're saying it's fiction. Some people believe in magic.
I believe in magic, but I'm not going to speak to whether Santa's alive or true or not true. That's for the children to discover.
I mean, I guess so. That's just
That's
a thing.
for children to discover. Yep.
So that you got to ask yourself, because we're talking about Santa and the elf and how much money each of them make. Does it really matter who makes more money in the relationship?
Exactly. This was not the type of relationship we were thinking about before.
Not the boss worker relationship. Okay.
No, we were thinking about something a little bit more personal and intimate. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, for this type of relationship, just to keep it 100 with everyone listening, we're talking about people who are in a relationship together in a romantic manner.
Oh, now
whether they're married, not married, is up to them. This world is a little bit
So
different.
it can't be just a friendship even.
Oh, that's interesting.
The friendship
Can you be
doesn't
friends?
matter.
I mean, we can speak to that though if you want to do it. If you want to have a platonic, like second tiered level to the assessment, sure. So I can answer first on the romantic, then the platonic. So on the romantic level, I would say objectively it should be I would say objectively it would be irrelevant for both if you're married to someone and how much money you make. shouldn't matter, and then objectively it shouldn't matter, and a friendship either. However, we know that life isn't always on the objective, but there's a lot of subjective nuance that goes on, and I would say that's where it gets really subjective, because people have their own personal bias or personal perspective on whether they view certain gender norms, especially if that's involved in it. Not every relationship has that, but for the cisgender man-woman relationship, there's certain old school ideology that goes behind what the man should be bringing to the table versus what the woman should be bringing to the table. And then if that is the type of normative that you grew up with and then put into place in your own relationship, that's where it can get a little bit dicey. And then also I would say the other thing that plays a role is if you never talked about it. And then in your relationship, again, regardless of the genders or identifiers involved, and then it comes up as an issue, then it probably is going to be an issue because you didn't set a roadmap for you and your partner, however that relationship looks, platonic. So same thing in friendship. If money is a thing for you, if you feel uncomfortable being friends with someone who's significantly wealthier than you, and you met someone already in that category and you continue down of trying to become friends with that person, that would be like you didn't set boundaries, right? So kind of like if you're friends with a really, really wealthy person and they always want to pay lunch for you, or they never want to pay lunch for you, and then you feel a certain kind of way about it, you would have to discuss that early on in your friendship before it got to be a bigger and worser thing. And same thing in a relationship. You have to talk about it.
Yeah. There was a movie that showed, I think LeBron James was friends with this, I think it was a physical, like it was a doctor for athletes.
Oh, yes. I remember that.
Whatever he would eat out with them. It might have just happened
he
once.
Always
but
forgot his wallet, right?
He's like, he'd reach for his wallet. He's sorry,
Rich.
I forgot.
Yep.
And the guy's looking at him, but he's like, are you kidding me? So that's why you do have to talk about it, because you don't want to be caught out there where
absolutely
you're ordering the filet mignon and you're not
because that
taking out a second mortgage to pay for it.
Yeah, they only felt like LeBron should pay because he's LeBron, right?
Yeah, it's because you don't even think about your cash.
If
he's eating out with, I don't know,
his a coworker or something.
Yeah, even a coworker.
But people have perception too, right? Of wealthy people, and then wealthy people have a perception on. They have so similar. I've talked about this on the show before. I really encourage people into 2023 to think about reading this book, The Four Agreements, Don Miguel Ruiz, I believe. Again, we all set different agreements in life. The agreement you set is not the agreement other people set. And so how we perceive rich people and how they orient with their money is wildly different than how the rich person views themselves and how they view their money. And we need to acknowledge that. And that's not unacceptable. You can't say, oh, you're rich, so you always got this. No, that's why they are rich. You pay your way because you're an adult, and if you can't, then try to have a cup of water and mind your business, really.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Like, mind your business, yeah.
Yeah, but the other thing is, I think society normalizes it that the male is supposed to make more money in the relationship, and that's just what it's kind of been. It's been shown to us that that's what needs to happen, but actually, they did a study where they showed that men are actually emotionally better when they're not the sole provider. So it's kind of better when it's I guess you never get a 50-50 split, but at least you're not the one that's definitely making more. So like somebody's contributing and it counts kind of thing. So that's definitely important. And then another thing that was brought up in the article that to think about, because people don't realize, is that this whole thing with males like being the only breadwinners in the house, that's just a recent thing. That hasn't always existed. It's actually, we think of it as, that's like the old school method. But since the beginning of society, it's not like, the men have always made the money and the women have not.
But the men has been the hunter, right? Like that image.
They may have been the hunter, but even that, women participated in the hunt too. They gathered not discussed it. And stuff, so it's a different. And they took care of the household. Yeah. I think technically women were taking care of the household, and men were kind of like they did some of the working, but the women were doing the managing kind of thing. So. But it's not as how we think it is that only men can work and women they don't have to make anything. So I think it does matter who makes more money in the relationship to people, but Should it matter? I don't think it should matter.
So you agree, objectively it shouldn't, but subjectively that's where we get the nuance.
Yeah, objectively it doesn't. Who cares who's making more? As long as, I think the key is that both people should be making money is what the thing to say.
Both people need to contribute.
It shouldn't just be like 100% someone is making money and 0% to the other. Unless that other person who's doing 0% of the money, they contribute in some other way. Mm-hmm. Which is a nuance.
Or you have to take into consideration if they're incapable, right? Like, so
and
people
they could
have
be
different
incapable,
life circumstances.
But no, they still can contribute in other ways. They can't just be chilling and doing zero.
But we're talking about money, so I understand that, yes, they may be doing cleaning or, the other stuff, but
I'm just saying, I'm saying it's like this. If one person makes 100% of the money and somebody makes 0% of the money, the other person making 0%, they need to provide in some other ways then.
Okay, gotcha.
Whichever that is.
I know,
it could be childcare.
Because of how you're mad, how that sounds. It just sounds so creepy.
Oh, it doesn't have to mean anything.
You better be working somewhere else. You know what I mean? Like,
it can be childcare, or it could just be...
I bet it could be.
It could be just saying, wow, the trash can stinks. You could just...
Oh, wow, the trash can stinks.
You could just say that.
Okay.
You could just...
I thought you were going to go into a different scenario there.
I know you thought that. Yeah. That's why I said something else, because it's different stuff. And you know what's a good one, too? Here's a great one.
You better work.
Nope. This person, they can replace the paper in the printer.
I totally thought you were going somewhere else.
Oh, really? That one?
That one.
There's so many things I can come up with that you won't think about. I thought you were going to go with
the light bulb situation. Like changing the lights, like if something goes out.
Oh, they could. Here's another one. They can be the one that answers a door for solicitors. Or decides that you don't answer the door for the solicitors. See, I mean, they can do the certain tasks.
I bet they could.
Dishwashing, polishing the floors.
I bet they could.
Cleaning the royal throne.
That could be polished, yeah.
Cleaning the royal throne.
Exactly.
See?
A lot of royal things in the home.
Okay, see, that's what's good, though.
Exactly.
Is that you don't have to always provide financially, but I think you gotta just provide, though. That's the thing. Yes. They both have to provide.
You were just tripping up my mind, sir.
Oh.
So,
well, I gave you good examples so that
you gave me lots
up.
of examples.
And now everybody knows that there's different ways to contribute.
The point is, don't sit on your keister and do nothing.
Well, yeah, you just can't. I mean, you can't be just the Queen of England, right?
Or the spouse of England, right? Like,
or the King of England.
We've got to just, if you, again, well, what's the purpose of your relationship? Everyone has to set the terms of why they're together. And to be honest, like, if you feel like you can be in a relationship where someone contributes 0%, then that's your burden to bear.
Well, that happens
in life.
Somebody has a trophy spouse.
Correct. Or partner, yeah. But, because remember...
partner, we're talking, it could be partner too, doesn't matter.
Like, yeah. There are some relationships where women are with a guy and 0% contribution.
You have to be married,
yeah. But again, you have to decide what you want in a relationship. I think you and I are in alignment where, we believe relationships involve absolute contribution, whether it's financial, it's childcare, like both parties have to contribute. That's just our personal bias coming into the conversation, but everyone, again, I just want to level set. You have to set what you want for yourself, but be mindful that whatever you say you're willing to accept, you actually are. Yeah, otherwise, you're going to have conflict then, and then you're going to have to work through that. But anything can be changed for sure, and nothing lasts forever. And so with that, I guess my question here would be, who do you think typically cares more, the male or female, in a cisgendered relationship? So man with woman, who do you think is going to care more?
No, it's funny. I actually think it's dead even, actually. And that's because there's women that feel that they just have it wholeheartedly. Men have to be the provider. They got to make sure that they're provided for. Even if these women, like, they're like self-made and they still want a man in their life who's even making more than them for some reason. I think it's because of society again, but they definitely care about that. And then there's men who they exert their like masculinity with their bank account. So when the more zeros they have, the more masculine they feel inside. Like that's a way to show. And then they have cars that are like really long to make them really feel good. Because men who have short cars, that they're more actually.
Nice.
I'm being nice. Watch this. They're actually more confident because they can drive a short car and not feel any way.
Are you talking about Priuses?
You're thinking of that. No, those little mini cars or whatever.
The mini Coopers?
No, not the mini. No, it's those
little
the smart car. That's what it is.
Those little Bambies.
those really smart cars. They're tall and they look like they'll flip over.
They always scare me. I'm like, is that a child? Oh, that's a person. Okay.
It's a little Tykes car. It's a little Tykes car. So if you drive that though, you're really confident though.
Judgmental.
I might know, but how's this a judgment? I'm giving them props. You have a real lot of self-confidence and a high self-esteem if you could drive a smart car.
You're out of your mind.
You're on like the Mount Everest compared to everybody else.
Because you're talking some
No, it's true though, because most guys, they got to get like some big truck, a diesel, guzzling up all the gas and stuff they can. They have to show. Yeah, they actually will put that on the back of their pickup truck.
Senor.
They'll hang the cojones from their little their hitch.
I know, that is always very funny when I see the trucks and I see that steel balls.
And when I say about those people, they have a lack of confidence for putting that. So that's judgmental. But that's what I feel. Because why do you have to show that? It should be self-evident.
They may actually have large testicles.
No, it's not. Because anytime you have to show that shows that it's not really happening.
I mean, it is a lot of bravado, for sure.
Yeah, to do all that stuff and have
again, there's always outliers in the world. And
there is. So not everybody lies
here. Look at me, and they actually are like deeply confident. But yes, I would agree that typically when you see a lot of showboating, a lot of like,
it's usually these
like the same thing at the gym.
Confident.
A lot of people grunting and then if they were to put it to the test, they couldn't even like deadlift 20
Well, yeah,
pounds,
there's some people that
so
they have
look real
a look, but it's that's the funny thing is bodybuilding, you can make your muscles look big, but technically not be as strong as somebody who has some real dense, compact muscles. So it's
life
that's different,
complicated.
Bodybuilding's for show.
And all the fun ways. So that's interesting. So I found on Psychology Today, and again, if you are new to WokeNFree, welcome. All of our links for our episodes can be seen on WokeNFree.com in the show notes, so definitely check that out. There was a study by Patrick Cooling and J.C. Wade in 2012, where they studied the relational dynamics and quality within unions where men dated women who made more money. And they found specifically that men with a more traditional or masculinity ideology involved with women who earned more money were more likely to have lower quality relationships due to the importance that such men place on the income disparity. And then conversely, they found that men with more non-traditional masculinity were more likely to dismiss income disparity as a rational factor with little or no importance while enjoying high romantic relational factor. Disparity as a relational factor with little or no importance while enjoying high romantic relationship quality. So meaning, what does that mean? So men with more traditional old school ideology of the man should be the breadwinner is going to do worse in a relationship with a woman who makes more than him, and then
they tie their masculinity then to making more money. Which, I mean, that
makes sense, right? Like that makes sense at the studies and that demonstrates that, because that's kind of where you would want to go with that. But then, and then more recently, Hanya Fei Wu in 2021 studied the link between relative income status within marriage and well-being and found that for both genders, husbands making more than wives raise life satisfaction. And then she noted that the beneficiary effect is most noticeable within families who are of medium economic status, while that the happiness penalty of wives who have higher incomes appears to be a universal phenomenon within families of all financial conditions. As with prior research, Wu recognized the impact of gendered income inequality and the role of gender ideology. Couples who focus on trust, love, and respect are happier than those who focus on typecast roles and stereotypes. And ultimately, we all know this to be true, but I'll say it. Money cannot buy love, regardless of who brings it home. So, yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
Some reality shows might question that premise, but but ultimately, the moral of the story is that if you don't lock yourself into one view of how a man or how a woman should orient in a relationship, and then if you take it outside of the cisgender terms of like how a person should orient or have how much money in a relationship, then you're more likely to be able to not have issue with your partner making more than you. So that's kind of how I interpret that.
I mean, that's I don't know. It's hard to talk about the the non-cis
Well,
perspective.
we can't really speak to that perspective, but I think what generally...
Yeah, I don't know.
There's different... we just don't have that experience, so it's like, it is what it is, but doesn't mean that it's not... I just want to make sure we raise it, just, again, because we happen to be... cisgender and boring.
There'd be too many assumptions that you'd be making for each of the partners involved.
It'd be very wrong. And then also, how far do you go? Because are you also going to talk about like polyamorous relationships? How does that work?
Yeah,
that's why I confined it within the man-female relationship, because at least, and singular, not multiples within the relationship. Yeah.
So can you give us some best practices for dealing with your partner who makes more money than you?
Absolutely. Well, here are some best practices I think that make most sense. I've said it before, I'll say it again. You got to talk about it. So maybe initially you didn't have an issue with your partner making more than you, and now they do. How do you feel about that? Has your position on that matter changed? If so, you've got to share how you feel about money. You've also got to share how you want to view money as a couple, because your personal ideology can be separate and apart from what you as a couple believe when it comes to money, and how you should save, for instance, or invest. You may be more conservative. Your partner may be more risky. You've got to talk about it. The point is, it's not just going to magically figure itself out. You've got to talk about making a will. You've got to talk about retirement planning. You've got to talk about money. It just cannot be ignored.
You can talk about that with your partner. I mean, it only depends if that partner is somebody you want to be with for life, kind of thing.
Exactly.
Shouldn't talk about that with a partner for 5 days.
Only if it's relevant. Yeah. If this is just someone you're having fun, and you know what I mean by that.
You just met them too, though. Yeah. I mean, you gotta know them.
But this is for, so thank you for the clarification, for long-term life planning types of relationships. Then you've got to talk about how you view money, how you want to use it individually and together. And then if you do have issues, start to also do your own self-discovery. Why are you starting to have bad feelings about it? Like, why is it an issue that your partner makes more than you? Do you feel less like you aren't contributing enough? Do you feel like that person can exert more power over you? Do you feel like they're exerting the money over you? Do you feel confined by the fact that you are making less? Like, what are the types of emotions and feelings going through you? Please, please, please do some self-discovery there. And then, of course, what's really critical is, in a world filled with people pretending to be your friends and pretending to care as family members, it's really critical to keep your finances private with your partner. You can have really close friends and really close best friends and all that stuff. And if you feel like you have those safe spaces with psychological safety, to be able to discuss such things with select few people, and I mean select like to the T, I'm talking 1 to 3 people or less, then sure. But otherwise, your mama and your papa and your aunts and your uncles and sissy and brother, they may or may not be in a good position to know the information. And also, you should only be sharing information with people who have context, right? If you are making over $100,000 and you come from a household where maybe your parent never made more than $25,000 a year, maybe they might not have insight on the type of financial planning that you're thinking about doing at your stage of life. So is there relevance to share that you make that money and your partner makes none? Like your parent might feel a certain way about that because they're like, wow, you make all that money, and now your partner's is, bumping along. Absolutely not. People contribute in different ways, but, it opens up Pandora's box, because then you get all that external noise and judgment and nonsense comments, and it can create more havoc in your household. So I beg you.
You don't think they're trying to help your household out?
Well,
by giving you tips.
It may be, but again, how can you, if you've never had that type of income, have anything to say that is relevant to the topic at hand?
But they might tell you stuff like, you better watch them. They might,
exactly
devalue you and start looking at other people.
Yeah, see how that's
more money
going
now.
It's going to create more havoc than help, really, to be honest.
You're now listening to WokeNFree.
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 WokeNFree, a podcast that keeps it real and keeps it honest.
And then actively, I would say, be a participant in trying to focus your relationship on what's most important to you and your partner. Now, if financial earnings is a tenet of your relationship, then sure. But I would say, if you really think down hard of it, it's going to be love. It's going to be friendship. It's going to be sexual heat and passion. It's going to be like passions of
playing dominoes.
Yeah, like fun stuff. It's not going to be how much money did you take home this week. Like that's not a tenet of a relationship. A tenet is something that holds and bonds you together. And to be honest, if we're keeping it 100, money is a made up thing. So
like the credit card limit is though.
Is that a tenet of your relationship? I mean that
for
to
some
me
people,
sounds really scary if that is. But
if the credit card limit's not high, then you gotta say bye.
Like that, that to me seems really like that's what's holding you together. That's the glue? Jesus.
It's not based on anything specific to the person.
My personal bias is I'm too much of a romantic.
It's not even specific to the person at it.
For
right?
me, like
it's too funny.
The tenet of a relationship is like, does my soul feel safe with your soul? Like, you know, like that's where I go, and I know that that's not where everyone goes, but that's where I go, and because you need to feel like you could just fall into another soul and just get lost in love.
Wow,
and,
I mean that's a lot.
Like, yeah,
because some people want physical safety from their partner too, though.
And that should be eliminated. Absolutely. That should be a part of the conversation. Yeah.
So that's something to think about. Yeah. Those are definitely some, that was some stuff to think about there.
Thank you.
Yeah, I like those. And I'm just going to keep mine to 3.
Nice. Power 3.
It's, I mean, the first one's kind of based off what you said, but just to do like a laser focus beam, you need to be honest about your feelings. So don't try to say what you think your partner wants to hear. Like, don't tell them, oh yeah, I don't care that you make more money just because you know that won't upset them. Tell them you honestly do care about it. And then you can see how you can work through it. Or if you can't work through it, I mean, you need to, this is pretty important because you got to know where each other stands or how you could work on changing your feelings or what. But I think you got to be honest about it. That's what counts.
That makes sense.
Second thing is you got to make sure that if the partner does make more money than you, they don't hold it over you. So they don't kind of wave it in front of you and say, hey, you need to do this because I'm bringing home the bacon. You know, make sure they're not doing stuff like that because I think that's like a crack in the relationship then if they start doing things like that.
That's true.
So make sure they're not using that against you in a certain way. If you're the partner making less. I mean, I guess if you're making less, there's nothing to hold over the one making more. I mean, maybe you can. I don't know.
Well, to your point, it's maybe you're like, well, I have the bigger stake at the end of the day, right? Like someone could say things like that where I think,
the person making less?
Oh, no, the person making more.
No, that's the obvious one. Yeah. But I'm saying if the person making less, I don't think you have anything to hold over the person making more, do you?
Yeah.
At least not monetarily. I guess you can hold over, you're like, I'm not going to check the door for you anymore. Because you keep talking about stuff that gets me upset.
I mean, that's one scenario.
I'm not going to check for solicitors at the door.
And I'm going to make less fried chicken tonight?
No,
I mean...
guess what? No salt for your eggs today. They can do that. So they instead of preparing your meals how you like, they can change how they prep it. So, but they shouldn't do that.
Arsenic in the water, right?
Yeah, they shouldn't. That's more than holding something over you. I think that's eliminating you from the equation. So I mean,
get that life insurance.
That's a good practice. I mean, make sure your partner's not going to eliminate you because that could happen.
Oh my God!
Because they may look at you like just watch if they said in the past couple of days they've not been in the home. And they've been increasing your insurance, your insurance limits. You know,
oh no!
Make sure that there's weird things not happening because that could be a sign of what's about to happen.
Oh God!
I mean, that's a whole other thing, but that would not be good. The last thing is you need to try to show your value in other ways in the relationship besides just monetarily, and that goes for both partners. I don't think it'll all just come down to money.
See,
I think both partners got to bring stuff.
I know what you're talking about, and you're trying to play these games.
Oh, yeah, because it's kind of like, who's the last one to refill the black pepper apparatus?
That's not what you're talking about.
Who did that?
You're talking about dancing in the sheets.
Oh, Dancing with the Stars.
In the sheets.
Like when I think of Dancing with the Stars, I'm talking about in an empty meadow like that. Like, no, in
is the bedroom called the meadow now?
In the bed of the earth.
You're sick.
That is a sort of bed as well, because that is natural. It is all natural. As opposed
to the beds humans sleep on it?
Those aren't natural. Remember, humans have put that together.
But I thought they're made from sheep or something.
Where do bears sleep? See, they sleep in a natural habitat.
I don't know where bears sleep.
They'll sleep in a human bed too if they get a chance, though. They really like it.
It seems so, yeah.
They would, but either way, they don't need that.
They don't discriminate.
So that's what you got to think about. They think about how to bring, value to the relationship too. When bears are in relationships,
Be better than your average bear.
yeah,
That's the takeaway.
because one
for
brings.
this
What if
episode.
one brings home more honey and one brings less? That's okay because one will scratch the back more, right?
I bet they will.
That's how the bears
See,
work.
that's what I'm saying. You just go in different. You're twisting.
No,
up
I'm
my
just
mind,
showing you
man.
though that there's different ways
There
to
are
add value to
different
the
ways
relationship,
to make your partner happy.
and bears can figure out that too.
Excellent, excellent.
Smarter than the average bear.
That's the takeaway here. Yep.
That's what you got to think about.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go, yo. Here we go, yo. So what's the scenario? It's scenario time, guys. Scenario 1. Al-Farousi was courting a potential romantic partner for several days. He found out the person runs their own company and has a few dozen employees to manage. He is currently working at a local furniture store, trying his best to get customers to buy the extended warranty. His romantic interest asked if he would like to work at their company. What should Al-Farousi do?
Oh. Okay, so just to understand, in this scenario, Al-Farousi is asked by their potential romantic partner, so someone that Al-Farousi could be with, but not as currently.
Yeah, he's not with, yeah.
And then, if that person is asking him to work a second job, is that what?
Wait, what? Wait, what? I mean, that's a whole other thing. That's an interesting dilemma that you're saying. I can see that as actually happening, but that is definitely not this scenario. I mean, that's just crazy.
Okay, well, I'm just totally thrown off here then. So explain to me what is this.
So Al-Farousi is dating this person.
Okay.
And finds out the person owns their own company, right?
Okay.
And that person knows what Al-Farousi's doing, trying to, sell the extended warranties at the furniture factory or wherever he works. Stop, don't laugh. He gets bonuses for that, so it's good. If you can get them to sign up for their warranty. This is part of the scenario. It's an important detail.
A mess.
It's a good thing. I don't know why you're laughing though. This is important stuff, It may not be a real thing, but you're trying to save people money in the end. Man, he's going to make a little bit of a change on the back end.
God help me.
Come on.
Oh, so shouldn't you try to pitch your potential love interest? That's what it is.
So now his date is trying to say, technically, the date is rich, but also says, hey, if you work for me, you can make more money and you can stop working at the furniture store that you're working at. So that's the
get
dilemma.
On the rich person's payroll.
Basically, yeah.
Okay. I thought we were doing this.
You thought they said, hey, you need to get another job because I don't like that kind of money you're making. I mean, that's a real scenario. And that to me is pretty obvious, but I hope people know you should say no to that. Like, you should say no to the person that they look down on you so much. They said, you need to get a second job just to have more. Like, that's weird. And you're just dating somebody? That's strange. If somebody did that, that's a red flag, right?
I don't know what this life
somebody
is.
Can't tell you to get a second job just because they don't like what you're doing or how much you're making. That's crazy.
Oh, God, that's
not when they first met. I
think
that's always messed up, actually. If someone said, hey, you need to get a second job. Because we're not, there's not enough money. I don't think that's
well, I think you have to talk about it. I don't think that someone should come to the terms of making a decision of saying, hey, what's up, Papa? Like,
don't say,
because you can't assume the utilization of someone else's time. Like,
it's kind of messed up.
Ask people.
Because then the person could say, why don't you get the second job? I mean, that's
it's like, well, I have two. Well, then maybe you should have three, right? Like, and you can be really petty and weird
and crazy.
Aggressive with each other. It can get weird. So, thank you for clarifying your scenario for me. So, interesting. Should you go on the rich person's payroll that you may want to also be with in a romantic manner? Again, so first and foremost, kind of the HR in me makes me first question, like, does her company allow for employees to get together? And if so, what are the rules and regulations that need to be followed to do that? Some companies make you submit paperwork saying, hey, we are together. And then if you're no longer together, then you have to also like update your HR person. So there's just some HR considerations, just to throw it out there for folks to think about dating someone that you work with. Some companies it's not allowed, some companies it is, but there's procedures to follow. So similarly, that would apply to this fictional situation.
I would think it was on the up and up in this situation.
Yeah, so it would be allowed, and then also, but they may have to reveal that or whatever.
That stuff is unknown, yeah.
And then secondly, again, as long as they talk about it, as long as you have no problem working with your partner, especially if your partner is in a more elevated role in the company than you are, as long as you're okay with that and any of the consequences that come with that, then there's not a problem because you're going to make more money in this scenario. Al Farouzi is going to make more money and then be able to maybe be more satisfied in their career. And then also, hopefully, willing, if you work together, you typically can get more time together. So maybe it can be a nice bonding for and help them actually get together since she's a potential romantic partner.
Yeah, so you're saying yes
do it.
To actually do it. Okay.
Do it, don't get a second job.
Which was never proposed, but yeah.
Just throwing it
I know.
out there.
Okay. Now, in this scenario, I usually think it's bad to mix business and pleasure. But in this case, I mean, if he loves what he's doing, then he can say no, but I don't know. I have a sneaky suspicion that he'd rather make more money doing something else. That's just my suspicion. I can't say for sure.
Okay.
So I would agree that he should work at the company. But one thing I would say is this is a crazy term. I know you're going to get mad at me, but he should say he will not be an employee at will. That's the only way you should do it.
Well, but you can't negotiate that for yourself if the company operates that way.
And that's, yeah. But remember, this is her own company. She can rewrite the rules anytime she wants.
But if she rewrites it for him, she has to rewrite it for everyone.
Exactly.
That would be
that's not true. So you don't have to make every employee at will or everyone.
Well, I'm not going to go into the employment legal ramifications of that, but what I would recommend is if he doesn't want to be considered the same way, then maybe he shouldn't be an employee and he should be a contractor then. And he may actually make more money that way, but he just won't get, typically any of that life insurance. The health insurance and stuff like that.
Whatever the title gotta be. It could be that.
Maybe he should be a contractor and not an employee because that.
But no, because all I was trying to put here is I would just say he needs to have some sort of safety net, because imagine like she hires him and then they had a bad date and then she fires him the next day.
Well, that's the risk of, and that's why.
Yeah, so it's like he could have just stayed at his own job
to work with someone.
That's why I say he needs to have like some insurance policies. But that's
really unlikely to happen. So I would recommend coming over as a contractor then, and then doubling your rate typically, and then then you're better off.
Whatever works. I just say you need to have an
insurance policy. And then at least in a contract,
that's it.
As a contractor, you can have terms in place where you can't just be let go that day, right? Kind of thing.
Yeah, it's a contract that you got
30 days notice,
fulfill,
right? Like depending upon how that contract is built, then that might be more meaningful for him.
Scenario 2. Cashton has a family of 8 with his wife of 12 years. He recently found out his wife got a promotion that allows her to make a significant amount more than he does. Should Cashton seek another job to ensure he wears the pants in the family?
Nope, he should just get a better belt if he's not feeling secure.
Good one. I like that analogy.
Yeah.
He's not feeling secure, so the belt will help him.
Yeah, get a better belt, sir.
But what if he's wearing no pantalones and only a thong?
Then we have a different conversation happening here.
So that's the
Kardashian reminiscent. Situation.
I can't speak on them. I don't know what they were. I can't speak on them.
I mean, when former Bruce was part of that scenario.
Oh, okay. I get it. All right.
So, no, I think what he should do is he should throw his wife, who had the warrior status, to give him 8 children. I mean, that just is blowing my mind. But
she was too shy of 10.
You know what it takes to have one child on this earth? Oh, God. So, she is a warrior, and she deserves a beautiful diamond something, and give her some type of jewelry, some type of cool electronic, some gift for the new promotion, but not in any way feel threatened. Like, he should not in any way feel threatened, nor should he feel like he's competing with his wife, but more so identifying how she feels about the money and how they feel like that extra money can be used for themselves and or their household.
Okay. So don't get the...
Get a better belt.
But so she shouldn't get another job then, you're saying? To try to catch up to what she's making.
No, he shouldn't, you mean.
Yeah, I said that, yeah.
Yeah, he needs to keep his job, unless he wants another job. Again, we're back in the second job scenario.
So he doesn't need to do all that stuff. He can just...
I mean, if he wanted one separate and apart from his wife's income increase, sure, right? More money, more gotta grind.
But he shouldn't do it due to
not
her
like,
earning
hey,
more
I
now.
gotta, we're
try to catch up
eye
there.
for eye situation. No, she's doing her thing. That's phenomenal. If you want more money separately and apartly, sure, but you're not in competition with anyone but yourself in this world.
Yeah. In this case, I think that wearing the pants in the family doesn't have to do with the amount of money that's made. It has to do with who makes the ultimate decision. So I don't think he has to get a second job to ensure that he's like the decision maker.
He had 8 children.
But I know that...
Jesus, that's enough.
Who?
Machismo. Like...
Oh, like that, you're saying?
You were the man. You did it. You laid it down, guy. You're there.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't have to do that. That's not necessary.
Check in with all those babies. How are they all doing? That's what you should be doing.
Nice. You could do
sure
that.
No one's neglected. I bet you 6 out of those 8 are feeling a little bit sad and lonely.
They're not feeling happy they have all these friends to play with?
If they're even talking to each other. These kids are savage nowadays.
Because I don't know how many people play on a hockey team, but maybe they can make one. I don't know.
It seems like they could have a football team, a basketball team, and an Olympic team. I mean, it's just doing the most here.
They're going to do Olympic crocheting, or what are they going to be doing?
Exactly.
Like, what are they going to be doing? Really?
Bobsledding.
They could do that, though, yeah. They can do that.
I think, 4 or 6 and then 2 backups.
If they're doing a whole team, I mean, they can do single sledding as well.
Oh, God.
Because the single one's pretty good. I mean,
that's really entertaining to watch, too.
Yeah, it is. It's a fun thing. I mean, there's a lot of Olympic sports you can do.
Exactly. Crocheting isn't one of them.
I know it's not, but they can make a new one, though. You never know. They may be bringing like video gaming into the Olympics. So.
I know, that's super cool.
Just watch. You don't know what's
DDR,
next.
the Olympic style.
You don't know what's happening next. That would be funny. I mean, that's different. I don't know.
That is a mess.
Well, you can't say. I mean, I know some people do that competitively, but that's more for working out. That's not. There's not the big prizes there. That doesn't. You don't make that's not a career. Like TDR is not a career. Mm-hmm. But there are other gaming that is a career. So that's all I say. At least right now, it could always change. You never know. Scenario 3. Ameyali has helped her boyfriend Boris find his dream job after working many low-paying jobs. Boris said once he navigates the corporate ladder, Ameyali can stop working and he'll take care of her and their young daughter. Should Ameyali be worried that Boris will soon make more money than her?
I don't think anyone would be concerned about that situation. When you're a parent, the opportunity to make more money, not just for yourself, but to care for your child. And these children are expensive, y'all. They're small sometimes, but they have a lot of products they require. And these products cost money. That stuff ain't free. So, no, I think that, Ameyali's, pronouns are she and her, right?
Yeah.
That she would be ecstatic and to probably like sitting on the edge, actually waiting, like when that check coming through. When does that check?
Even though she used to make more than Boris.
Yes, but right.
She'll be okay when it's basically like everything's flipping, and she's going to be okay with that, even though she helped him even get that job. She's not going to be upset.
Tides have turned, and it is what it is. I mean, if she wanted something different, then she would have to go and take... I think that being taken care of it... I think people put like a negative connotation around that, and I think it's really interesting. Like, I view myself as an independent person, and I like that, but there are things that I also enjoy that you absolutely take care of, and I have no interest in taking care of that, like taking out the trash, or building the things, or, dealing with certain tasks that I wouldn't say are the man task of the house, but it's just like those are the Khalil tasks. And you know what these tasks are. And so just do them and move on. And I don't understand why we're having internal debates about this. Like, do it and move on. And when's dinner made? Where's the mac and cheese? Thank you. Thank you and goodbye.
Nice. Okay.
Thank you and goodbye.
Okay. All right. That's a good one.
And you?
Yeah, I mean, there shouldn't be any worries here. Like we were saying before, it doesn't really matter who makes more money in the relationship, so...
Yeah.
This doesn't make sense for you to worry about this. It's okay that now the tides are turning. It's not going to hurt your relationship. It just changes. And your relationship changes as you go along anyway, so this is just one of the changes.
Who are you telling?
You've seen, so don't be surprised. Yeah, this is like good preparation for what's to come. The best is yet to come.
Yep, in the depths of hell.
What do you... Oh, you're talking about if you're like an ice cream maker and you start...
In hell?
No, if you continue to make ice cream, then it feels...
Hell, in Satan's playground?
It becomes that. If you continue to make ice cream for too long, you just get tired of it.
Look at all these assumptions you're making.
You think there's people that will do it forever?
Ben and Jerry's?
Yeah, but I mean, they're not. That's why they have a machine doing it, right? And they hire new youngsters to do it.
Youngsters?
Yeah.
Young tykes?
Yeah, because people get tired of that. How much ice cream can you make in your life?
1,000 years.
That's a good torture. You just gotta continue to mix ice cream and put the ingredients in.
You're a mess.
The toppings.
You are 100% a complete mess.
I know that people would be tortured.
You don't know what those mix-ins look like.
No, there's nobody that enjoys making ice cream forever.
I told you I saw someone enjoy it in front of me, and I can't go to that establishment no more.
No, but you can enjoy it for like 10 years, right? That's not that much. Maybe 20 years. I don't know. But once it's 50 years, you give it up. You're like, it's not fun
These
anymore.
Assumptions you make are wild.
Unless you make different types of things. So if you do root beer floats, then that gets fun.
Mm-hmm.
See? So.
All right. Any other words of wisdom for folks to think about?
Words of wisdom? Well, yeah, don't worry about who makes more money. It doesn't matter in the end. Just worry about what everybody's contributing to the relationship. I think that's what really matters, not the financial aspect alone. There's other things, as I discussed, and you needed a lot of examples. I gave them, so go rewind this episode and listen to some of the examples I gave of things that you can do besides having a huge bank account.
Hey, I like that. Okay.
Yeah.
My words of wisdom is kind of what I spoke to before, which is absolutely, I agree with you. Then who makes more is completely irrelevant. What matters more is, do you like your partner? Is your partner treating you well? Do you have fun with your partner? Do you plan for a future with your partner? Are your children safe and well taken care of with your partner? These are things that matter more than who has a bigger bank account. And if you are struggling with any of those things, that's when the relationship and the quality of relationship comes into question, not who's bringing home more bacon. So with that, we are at that time again. It looks like we're coming to the end of our 278th episode of WokeNFree. Quite the episode asking the question, does it matter who makes more money in a relationship? Khalil, what do folks need to do now?
Come back next week for the new WokeNFree Wednesday episode. Make sure you follow us on social media to follow along the conversation, and make sure you tune in next week for WokeNFree Wednesday to join the conversation at WokeNFree.com.
If you'd like to be a guest on the show, we're definitely doing planning for upcoming months, so submit your pitch on our Contact Us page at WokeNFree.com. That's WokenFree.com. And you can find us on all social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, Pinterest, LinkedIn at WokenFree. And all sponsorship and collaborations queries, hit us up on our Contact Us page at WokenFree.com.
If you didn't already subscribe, please do share the episode and make sure you come back to join the conversation every Wednesday for WokenFree Wednesdays. Remember, WokenFree is more than a podcast. It is a way of life. Until next time.